I am making an update to my Relinquish deck. I say updates, but it's more like a new version of it. As the last one was mixed with Lair of Darkness, whereas this one's mixed with another thing, which, once I get to the spells, will become obvious. If not the title of the video itself. But I've been testing this version. I actually really like how it's been working. So I figured I'd go ahead and show what I have so far. One thing I will point out, though, is that this deck is not at all, like, competitive. It's more of a fun deck that makes people upset. Not as much as another bird deck. But anyway, starting with the monsters. I play 3 copies of Golden Eye's Idol. This monster has the effect that it has a quick effect if you look at your opponent's hand, and then its name becomes Thousand Eyes Idol until the end of the turn. That really only matters if you want to use it as a fusion material for Thousand Eyes Restrict. And its other effect is that it's sent to the graveyard. You can then target a monster your opponent controls and equip it to an Eyes Restrict or Relinquish monster that cannot be normal summoned. And I feel like I'm missing something. Let's see. Okay, yeah. And then this is not being treated. This makes it so the equipped monster is not treated as equipped by the equipped monster's effect, however. So you can use it to equip another monster to your Relinquished, and Relinquished will still not have a monster equipped by its effect. And that the equipped monster does gain that monster's attack and defense. Anyway, speaking of Relinquished, I play 3 copies of Relinquished. Relinquished has to be ritual summoned, or must first be ritual summoned by using the Black Illusion ritual. And then once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, equip it to this card. If it's a face-down monster that was targeted, its attack and defense is treated as 0. And then your opponent takes any battle damage you would take from battles involving this card when it's equipped with a monster. And if it would be destroyed by battle, then the equipped monster is destroyed instead. And you can only use that effect of Relinquished once per turn. The main thing I like doing with it is just giving, like, the side deck has kaijus for if I'm going second, as this is meant to be a go first build. But one thing I like doing is give my opponent a kaiju, summon this, take a kaiju, and if I have another kaiju, I'll give my opponent this new kaiju, and preferably under one of the extra monster zones, and then use Relinquish, summon an anima, take that kaiju. And I think it's really fun. Next, I play 3 copies of Millennium Eyes Illusionist. Millennium Eyes Illusionist has the quick effect of being able to discard it to target 1 monster your opponent controls and equip it to an Eyes Restrict or Relinquish monster that cannot be normal summoned. And then, if this card's in the graveyard when with an Eyes Restrict or Relinquish is summoned, it has the mandatory ability of returning to your hand, which I actually think is really funny. And you can only use each effect of Millennium Eyes Illusionist once per turn. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Illusionist Faceless Magician. This monster has the effect that if a Thousand Eyes or Relinquished monster is destroyed, then you can special summon this card from your graveyard or hand. However, if you summon it from grave, it has to have already been in grave, and if you summon it from hand, as long as it was in your hand at the resolution of the card's destruction, then you get to summon it. And then, if this card on the field is destroyed, you can target an Eyes Restrict or Relinquish in your graveyard and special summon it. And you will use each effect of Illusionist Faceless Magician once per turn. And now for the spells. I play 1 copy of Instant Fusion. This just lets you summon an Eyes Restrict monster from your extra deck. I say Eyes Restrict because there are no other targets in your extra. I guess technically there are other targets. Those are usually the ones you're summoning. Because normally you see this, you'll want to immediately use it to summon something like Millennium Eyes, so that if your opponent tries to ash you, you can just equip the ash, and now your opponent can't ash you while that Millennium Eyes is on the field. And the part of the spells that a lot of people are going to know immediately is I play 1 copy of Runick Dispelling and 1 copy of Runick Golden Droplet. All the Runick spells, minus the field spell in this deck, all share the effect that they have 2 effects. They have a unique effect, and another effect lets you summon a Runick Fusion monster from your extra deck. And then, if you activate a Runick spell, and the battle phase of your next turn is skipped. However, you have to declare your battle phase, otherwise it's not technically skipped. Or, next turn, it skips your next battle phase. And then dispelling, forget what dispelling does exactly. Okay. Runick Dispelling just lets you, when your opponent searches or adds a card from their deck to the hand except by drawing, you can activate this to discard one random card in your opponent's hand and then banish the top 2 cards. That's another thing all these Runick quick play spells share is they have their own unique effect and then they banish a certain number of cards from your opponent's deck. The relinquish part in this deck is just meant to help stall your opponent into banishing their deck. I don't know why talking is so hard. But anyway, Runick Droplet has the effect that your opponent draws a card and they banish the top 4 cards of their deck. Usually you're not using that. Usually these 2 are just used to summon from your extra deck. Then I play 2 copies of Smiting Storm. Smiting Storm is similar to the other 2 that you usually use it to summon from your extra deck. However, it has the other effect that you can banish cards on the top of your opponent's deck equal to the number of cards they control. Next, I play 2 copies of Black Illusion Ritual. This just lets you ritual summon and relinquish by attributing any one monster that has a level. Then I play 2 copies of Runick Fountain. Runick Fountain just makes it so you can activate your Runick quick play spells from your hand during your opponent's turn. And then, when you activate a Runick quick play spell, you can activate its effect, target any number of Runick quick plays in your graveyard of different names, put them at the bottom of the deck, and then draw cards equal to the number you put back. The only cost of this card is targeting, so unfortunately you can't just put them back and then it gets negated and you go, oh no. And then next I play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. This just lets you add a Black Illusion Ritual from your deck to your hand, and then you can, which I believe the adding relinquish is optional. Let's see. Okay, no, you do not. But you add the Black Illusion Ritual from your deck to your hand, and then you can add a relinquish from your deck or grave to your hand. Next, I play 3 copies of Relinquished Fusion. My bad. Don't know why my brain just stopped at Relinquished. This lets you fusion summon an Ice Restrict monster by banishing monsters from your hand, field, or grave. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard to then target one effect monster your opponent controls, equip it to an Ice Restrict monster you control as if it was equipped by that monster's effect. You can only use each effect of Relinquished Fusion once per turn. So one thing I like about this is use it, summon a Millennium Eyes, and then equip opponent's monster to the Millennium Eyes. And then this card can technically be taken out of the deck and nothing will have changed. But I personally like it. I say nothing will have changed because it's currently a 43 card deck, because I wanted to play the 3 copies of Eye of Illusion. Eye of Illusion can only be activated if you control a spellcaster or an illusion monster, but it lets you activate one of 3 effects, where if it's your opponent's turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it. If an opponent's monster declares an attack, then you can activate this to target one of your opponent's monsters except the attacking monster, and their monster attacks the new one. And the last effect, I always forget what it does. Makes so that your illusion and spellcaster monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. Eye of Illusion, I just really like it, just because I was able to use it with, I guess, one of my friends who was playing Melfi Tri-Brigade. And every time he would summon something like Rescue Rabbit, I had an Eye of Illusion to take control of that Rescue Rabbit until the end of their turn. And then next, I play 3 copies of Runick Slumber. Runick Slumber lets you target a monster on the field. The next time that monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, it's not destroyed. However, it cannot attack this turn. And then your opponent banishes the top 3 cards of their deck. I honestly really like using this with Instant Fusion, as I can use it if I'm really worried about my opponent attacking, then I can activate Instant Fusion, summon Thousand Eyes, and then during the end phase when Thousand Eyes will be destroyed, I can use Slumber to protect the Thousand Eyes from being destroyed. It's just a thing I thought of that I thought was kind of funny. And then I also play 3 copies of, let's see, Freezing Curses. Freezing Curses lets you target an effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects, and then until the end of the turn, and then your opponent banishes the top 3 cards. And then 3 Flashing Fire. Flashing Fire lets you target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and destroy it, and then banish the top 2. Then Runick Destruction. I play another 3 of it, where you target a spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it, and then they banish the top 4 cards. And then finally, 3 copies of Runick Tip. Runick Tip is the main search card of the deck, as it lets you add a Runick card from your deck to your hand, and then you banish the top card of your opponent's deck. And that is it for the main deck. Well, like I said, it's a 43 card main deck, so you don't have to. You can take out either Eye of Illusions or Golden Eye's Idol. I just like playing the Idol. Honestly, I'll probably take Idol out of the deck anyway and keep the Eye of Illusions in. Because I got it down to 43 and I just didn't know which one I wanted to take out more. One thing I will mention though for the extra deck is that there is 1 card that's in another one of my decks that would also be in this deck whenever I would play it. So, moving on to the extra deck. I play 2 copies of Relinquished Anima. This just lets you, has the effect once per turn. You can target a monster in a zone it points to and equip it to this monster. Which normally you'll put in the extra monster zone, and because it's in a zone Anima points to, Anima can equip it as if it was by its own effect. And then I also play 1 copy of SP Little Knight, just because it's a really good card, so if you can play SP, then play it. And if you don't want to have SP Little Knight, then you can just toss in something like IP Masquerena, and then Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, or anything else. Or you can even just toss in a 3rd copy of Relinquished Anima. That's technically 2. Then I play 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict. I should probably mention SP Little Knight's effect. SP Little Knight has the effect that if you link summon it by using a monster summon from the extra deck, then you can banish 1 card your opponent controls. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can activate this card's effect to banish this card and 1 other card on the field until the next standby. Alright, so I believe it's this card. When your opponent activates a card or effect, target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a monster you control, banish both. Okay, so I was actually wrong. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate its effect, target 2 effect monsters on the field, banish both until the next standby. And then Thousand Eyes Restrict has the effect of once per turn. You can target 1 monster your opponent controls, equip it to this card. You can only have 1 monster equipped at a time. Its attack and defense equal that monster's attack and defense. And then other monsters on the field can't attack. And then next, I play 3 copies of Millennium Eyes Restrict. Millennium Eyes Restrict has the effect that when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can chain Millennium Eyes effect to equip that monster to this card. It has the same attack gaining effect as Relinquished Anima and Thousand Eyes, except this one also has the effect of monsters. The effects of monsters your opponent activates that have the same name as this card are negated, which makes this really good because opponent tries to Ash, you chain this, equip the Ash, and now their activated Ash effect is negated. Then I play 2 copies of Hugin, the Runic Wings. Hugin has the effect that you can, when it's summoned, discard a card, add a Runic field spell from your deck to your hand. And then I believe its other effect is Destruction Prevention. If another card or cards you control be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. And then, if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you return it to the extra deck. And then next, I play 2 copies of Moonin. Moonin, the Runic Wings, doesn't really do anything in this build because I don't play the continuous spell. But it just has the effect that when it's summoned, discard a card, add a Runic continuous spell from deck to hand. And then, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Runic card you control, or a set card you control, quick effect, banish this card, negate the activation. And if you do destroy that card, and then it has the once per turn end phase effect of gaining 1,000 life points. So technically, it can come up in game in time. And then next, I play one copy of Gary the runick Fangs. It has the effect it can't be destroyed by card effects. And if it's special from the extra deck, you can target a non-quick play runick spell in your graveyard, add to your hand. Normally, you aren't summoning this unless you need to get a runick fountain back from your grave. And then next, I play one copy of Frecky the Runick Fangs. Frecky has the effect when an attack is declared, involving this card in the extra monster zone. You banish the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this card, and this card on the field does destroy a battle card effect. Target a runick quick play spell in grave, add it to your hand. This is just another thing you can use to try to get rid of your opponent's deck a bit quicker. And then lastly, I played 2 copies of Sleipnir the Runick Mane. This monster just lets you... Let's see, what was it? It's 2 once per turn effects, I remember that. During your main phase or your opponent's battle phase quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, banish both that monster and this card until the end phase. And then if a card or cards is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, except during a damage step, you can special summon a Runick token, which is a level 4 light fairy with 1500 attack and defense and attack position. You can only use each effect to Sleipnir the Runick Mane once per turn. That last effect is just so you can get another body so that Sleipnir won't be in danger when it banishes before it banishes itself. Anyway, that is it for my relinquished Runick deck profile. If you have any ideas of what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas of the decks I can see being made in the future, or decks I can see face each other, feel free to comment down below. Thank you for watching.